World in Perspective. I'm William Mayer. The story of tonight's topic is radiation, where we seek to answer the question, are you in danger every time that you go to the doctor or the hospital? We are joined here tonight by Dr. Lorenz, who is a local radiologist, and Frederick Hopper, who is seeking to raise awareness for the dangers of radiation in medicine. I'm beginning tonight with you, Mr. Hopper. Just how dangerous is radiation to the average person?
Thank you, William. Most of us are aware of the consequences of radiation exposure. Although it is exaggerated in popular culture today, radiation sickness and cancers are very real threats. X-rays and CAT scans work by bombarding one's body with radiation in order to get an image of it. Scientists have already proven that radiation can do considerable biological damage to living things, including creating cancers by the destruction of DNA. Yet people unknowingly allow themselves to be exposed to this risk at the word of their beloved doctors.
That is a fairly frightening view on this situation. Dr. Lorenz, how would you respond to these claims, seeing as you work with these technologies every day?
Every hospital or radiology clinic has a variety of different machines which employ radiation in order to view the human body. Thousands of these X-rays and CAT scans take place around the world, yet there is no conclusive data connecting these small amounts of radiation with an increase in the rate of cancer. X-rays are just packets of light, after all, that can pass through many materials but get stopped by the heavier elements that make up the bones. In fact,
if I may interrupt, you seem to be ignoring the danger here. You admitted that these things expose the human body to radiation. As a radiologist, you should know the dangers that these things can pose. Why should we be risking the safety of these people in such an unnecessary manner?
You have fallen victim to one of the many misconceptions about radiation. It is much more prevalent in your everyday life than it is apparent to the naked eye. It is not simply the yellow and black symbol or some glowing green sludge depicted in the origin story of so many superheroes. Radiation is present at all times in the foods you eat, the company you keep, and simply the sky above your head. You live your life in the presence of this background in cosmic radiation without any concern, and the additional radiation exposure from something as simple as an X-ray is simply not going to differentiate much from that normal amount.
Your conclusions seem a bit lighthearted when compared to the horrifying examples of the dangers of radiation that have been played out over the years. Take events like Chernobyl or the dropping of the atomic bombs and the widespread panic involving the earthquakes in Japan. All of these show the unforgiving brutality of radiation, yet we continue to disregard their implications. Simply put, these are events involving widespread radiation exposure that lead to an incredible number of deaths. There is no reason that this would not be the case with radiation that one can get from a trip to the hospital.
I actually also have heard of this particular theory, that radiation in particular doses can affect the possibility of cancer.
From what I've gathered so far, you guys seem to be making your conclusions based on what is known as the linear hypothesis. Although many people with far more knowledge than any of us do not believe it holds in reality, I will entertain the idea for the sake of argument. I would like to start by making sure it is clear that radiation possesses serious danger and should not be overlooked. My point of contention with the argument being made is whether or not, according to the linear hypothesis, the amount of radiation received from an X-ray is anything about which one needs to worry. Let me illustrate my point through an example. Most people consider bananas to be a healthy snack, but they pose a serious danger if you were to subscribe to the linear hypothesis because they possess potassium responsible for radiation.
Are you saying bananas can give us cancer?
If you want to go by the linear hypothesis, the answer is yes. It may be extreme, but 250,000 bananas can increase your risk of cancer by about 1%.
Gentlemen, if I may say, I'm still a little confused. Dr. Lorenz, in particular, can you give me a definitive answer? Is there a risk in getting certain medical treatments that use radiation?
I believe another example can make it clear that only an incredibly small increase in the chance of developing cancer arises when exposed to medical imaging. Based on the linear hypothesis, something like a chest X-ray would only increase your chance of cancer by 0.000005%. This means that suggesting an X-ray is a serious threat is similar to saying that adding 1 cup of water to the ocean drastically changes its volume.
These examples are pretty cute, but you're dealing completely in hypothetical situations. No one can eat that many bananas. The devastation of Chernobyl is not hypothetical. How can you suggest that the dangers like these are so negligible in the face of these facts?
There is no doubt that the disaster of Chernobyl was a terrible event, and the loss of any life is a sad reality, but it is not fair to connect all the tragedy that occurred with these effects of radiation. The number of deaths caused by the event is widely disputed, but I have seen numbers suggesting around 24,000 people would have developed cancer worldwide as a result of the accident. That is a large number of people and a terrible loss of life, but you must realize that the population of 100 million people that received the radiation from the event, their probability of developing cancer increased by only 0.024%. And that is only the result of an extremely large dose of radiation. I did not come here to ignore the dangers of radiation or suggest they do not exist. I came to make it clear that a large event like Chernobyl has statistically small effects on cancer probabilities, so something as simple as an X-ray or CAT scan will not put you in any peril. At the end of the day, your healthcare professionals are not going to put you in danger. They take extensive measures like lead jackets to prevent any other possible side effects in the face of these already small probabilities.
Well, we are out of time, unfortunately. Our program enjoys bringing on very passionate people for our discussions. And let's just hope that the public can become more informed in general about the possible dangers or lack thereof in radiation. Thank you for tuning in, and please join us again next week in The World in Perspective when we talk about Armageddon. Can your weekend plans be ruined by a comet? I'm William Mayer.